Hello everyone, welcome to B Movie Beauty. Today we're making Elderflower Spritz Soap, and just to make things interesting, we also have the curious case of false trace. I have my base oils mixed and ready to go, and I'm adding in my lye water. My lye solution has been sitting overnight in an airtight container, so it's at room temp. Now my soaping studio is in Wisconsin in a basement, and I don't have a heater, so room temperature for me this time of year is about 65 degrees. That's actually going to be really important in a minute. I've used this recipe a whole bunch of times, so I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how it behaves for the most part, and it's typically a pretty fluid recipe. So as I was blending, I noticed that it seemed to be getting thick a lot quicker than normal. This recipe usually takes a while to hit even light trace, so I was really confused at how thick it was getting so fast. And right there, do you see it? It looks like I'm at light to medium trace there. Now, I should have stirred it a little bit more to be sure, but I was freaking out about how thick it was getting. So I decided to just keep going, and that was a rookie mistake. Now, are you seeing it? Right there. That applesauce texture, that's what finally clued me in. I'd hit false trace. So everything got dumped right back into the mixing bowl to be blended up some more. So here was my mistake, and it's a big rookie mistake. Room temperature for my lye in my soaping studio is about 65 degrees, like I mentioned. But oils like coconut and palm that are in my base recipe, they don't like to be liquid at 65 degrees. So I'd pop them into the microwave for about 20 seconds or so just to get them moving so I wouldn't have chunks in my oil. The result of that was that I mixed 65 degree lye water with oils that were around 85 degrees. That temperature difference shocked those hard oils back into a solid state when I poured the lye water in. So now, to prevent this in the future, what I'll probably do is put my sealed container of lye water into a warm water bath for a few minutes just to bring the temperature up to within 10 degrees of my base oils. And you can see here that with just a few pulses of my stick blender, it's back to being a really fluid recipe again. Now, while I'm cleaning up the huge mess that I'm making, let me tell you about the colors that I chose for this soap. The scent I'm using is Elderflower Spritz Poptail by Aztec. It's one of their new scents. Now, elderflowers are a really pretty little white flower that has a lot of green leaves and stems. And an elderflower spritz is made with an elderflower liqueur that is often mixed with a rosé wine. So they're sometimes pink. So I decided to make this soap a nice white, pink, and green. So I'm using titanium dioxide in the biggest part of my batch to make it nice and white. And here I'm adding Phyllis Diller mica from Mad Micas just to give that white a little bit of depth. And now for the pink, I'm going to use Love Bite, which is also by Mad Micas. And lastly, Mad Mica's Crazy Eyes for the green. Now, I really like Mad Mica's, as you can tell, because on their website, they show you what the mica is going to do in cold process soap. So there's never any crazy surprises. I also love their customer service. It is on point. I just get a huge kick out of seeing that note when I open the box. I'm stick blending my micas in just to make sure everything is really incorporated, and then I'm going to use a whisk to blend in my fragrance oil. I typically do it this way, but in this situation it's even more important because my fragrance oil is a floral, and florals tend to accelerate your batter, so I don't want to overblend it after I've incorporated the fragrance. I'm trying to show you the fragrance oil here. It's Aztec's Elderflower Spritz Poptail. You're just gonna have to trust me. Sorry about that. I had to clean off my counter. It was too messy even for me. So my plan with this soap was to do a drop swirl. I like drop swirls. They're super easy and they're really pretty in the finished cut. But I was right. The elderflower did accelerate my batter. It wasn't terrible, but it was enough that I knew that the drop swirl probably wasn't going to go off as planned. So this ended up being more of a drop plop than a drop swirl. I don't sweat it too much though, because when you're making soap, even when things don't go as planned, it almost always ends up looking great when you're done. Yep, that soap batter on the bottom of my bowl. I have no idea how that got there. In the interest of time, I cut out some of the obsessive bowl scraping and violent banging on the counter and the floor, and just cut to the end. I wasn't sure if I was going to pipe this soap or not, but the end result of the top of the drop plop kind of made up my mind for me. I'm going to pipe this puppy. My base is firmed up a bit. My piping soap is not completely ready to go, but I'm impatient and it's good enough for what I'm going to do with it, so it's time to get piping. I'm using a Russian ball piping tip, and I'd give you the number on it, but it doesn't have one. So I'm going to include the link to the set in the description box, along with links to everything else that I'm using in this video. So my piping soap is still pretty loose, but that's the way I actually like it. I want it loose and flowy, kind of like soft serve ice cream. I just like how the end result looks when it's kind of been globbed on in loose ribbons of soap. So I had to refill my bag, and you'll notice that absolutely everything is a mess now. My bag, my gloves, everything. The moral of the story is that it is impossible for me to make soap without making a huge mess. This is why I wear protective gear. The top has been piped, and now I'm adding some Crafter's Choice Iridescent Super Sparkle Glitter to the top. I put my glitters into shakers that I found in the dollar spot at Target. They come in packages of 4, and they were like $3 a package. I just like how easy it is to control the glitter when they're in a shaker. And now I've dispersed a tiny bit of my green and my pink micas into some sweet almond oil, and I'm just going to drop some of it onto the top of the soap with a dropper to finish it off. And now it's 24-ish hours later. The soap unmolded beautifully and it is ready to cut. Yeah, my loaf got a little smooshed in my cutter, but that's okay. I'll smooth that piece out and you'll never even know it happened. Now you can see that even though my drop swirl turned into a drop plop, the cut is still really pretty. The colors look great together, and most importantly, it smells so good. Now if you want to try this on your own, the links to everything I used are in the description and on my blog. If you're not into making your own soap and just like watching the videos, these soaps will be available the first week in April at Nailed It in downtown Racine, Wisconsin, and on our web store at bmoviebeauty.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook to stay up to date with new products and releases, and if you liked watching this video, then you might want to hit the subscribe button to see more of them in the future. Thanks so much for watching Be Movie Beauty. Have a great day!